Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to dig into a really powerful idea, one that might just flip everything you think you know about your emotions completely upside down. It's called the as-if principle. And the big idea here is that you don't have to wait to feel good to get going. You can actually act your way into feeling good. And it all starts with a simple but kind of profound question. So let me ask you this. Just think about it for a second. Do you smile because you're happy? Or could it be that you're happy because you smile? It sounds like a bit of a riddle, right? But the answer, well, it holds the key to a totally radical way of understanding how our own minds work. And that leads us right into our first section, what we're calling the feeling fallacy. This is that old common sense belief that, we're about to take apart piece by piece. Okay, so on one side, you've got the view we all grew up with. Feelings cause actions, right? We feel happy, so we smile. We feel afraid, so we run. Seems pretty straightforward. But then, there's this wild, radical reversal. The idea that the action actually comes first, and it's the thing that creates the feeling. We smile, and that very act of smiling is what makes us feel happy. Now, this isn't some new age self-help fad. Nope. This idea goes all the way back to the 19th century psychologist William James. He was this brilliant thinker who got really fed up with the psychology of his time. He thought it was, trivial. He even called it brass instrument psychology because it was all about these boring experiments dropping brass balls to measure reaction times. Stuff he felt was totally irrelevant to how people actually live their lives.
So James proposed something way more profound, which brings us to his big idea, the as-if principle.
And his whole idea is just captured perfectly in this one sentence. James famously wrote, "If you want a quality, act as if you already have it." Notice he didn't say think as if you have it. He said act as if you have it. The change starts with your body.
So here's what it all boils down to. The as-if principle is this idea that your behavior isn't just a result of how you feel, it's a cause. Your actions can literally rewire your brain and shape your emotions from the outside in. But, talk is cheap, right? James had this revolutionary theory, but he thought experiments were boring. So for decades, it was really just an idea. So let's see how science finally put this thing to the test. So fast forward decades later, and a young psychologist named James Laird stumbles upon this old theory from William James and is just amazed that nobody had ever really tested it. So he decided, okay, I'm going to change that. And he designed this brilliant experiment to see if you could really make someone feel happy just by getting them to smile. And here's how he did it. It was so clever. He knew if he just said, "Hey, smile for me," people might just tell him what they thought he wanted to hear. So he made up this cover story. He told the volunteers he was studying electrical activity in their faces and stuck on a bunch of fake electrodes. Then, and this is the genius part, he gave them super specific instructions like contract the muscles at the corners of your mouth, which forced them to either smile or frown without them even realizing what they were doing. And only then did he ask them, "So, how are you feeling?" And the results? They were absolutely undeniable. Just look at this. The group that was tricked into smiling reported feeling way, way happier than the group that was tricked into frowning. The simple physical act of arranging their face into a smile had actually created the genuine feeling of happiness. It turns out William James was right all along. And this whole principle goes way beyond just smiling. Modern science has shown that acting confident doesn't just make you feel more confident, it can actually literally change the chemistry inside your body. You've probably heard of the power pose effect. Researchers found that when people held a confident, expansive pose, like hands on hips, chest puffed out, for just 1 minute, their bodies went through these real, measurable changes. Their testosterone levels, which is the dominance hormone, went up, their cortisol, the stress hormone, went down, and they were more willing to take risks. All of that just from changing their posture for 60 seconds? Okay, so this is all really fascinating science, but what does it actually mean for you, right? How can you use this in your own life? Well, that's what this next section is all about. So the old way is all about trying to change your mind first. If you want to feel happier, you try to think happy thoughts. If you want to be more confident, you try to give yourself a mental pep talk. But the as-if way completely flips the script. You want to feel happier? Put a little spring in your step. Put a smile on your face, even if it feels fake at first. You need to be more confident for a big meeting? Stand up straight, pull your shoulders back. And my personal favorite, waiting for motivation to strike, forget about it. Just start the task. Tell yourself you'll do it for just 5 minutes. The action itself will create the motivation you were waiting for. And here it is, the most empowering takeaway from all of this. You do not have to wait to feel ready. You don't need to wait for inspiration or confidence to magically appear. Action is the spark. Your behavior is the cause, not just the effect. Which leaves us with one final big question to think about. If our actions don't just create these little fleeting feelings, but over time, they actually shape our very identity, then who are you choosing to become today with the actions you're about to take?